Well, hey there. Good morning. Mr. Nelson here in the shop. And as you see, I'm super excited. I have my safety glasses on and we're ready to start in on the device holder. So let me show you what you're going to need out of your kits. You're going to need the device holder kit, everything with all the parts in it, and then the nails and all that. You're going to need a tape measure. You're going to need your screwdriver. You're going to need a hammer. You're going to need a pencil, and you're going to need your safety glasses. So get all those out, and then we can start. Here we go. All right, I'm going to tilt the screen down so you can see my hands as I'm working, but I'll be talking us through all the parts as we're doing this. Okay, so I'm just going to take my parts out. I'll put my bag off to the side over here. I need this. This is my base. This round piece, this is called a dowel. I'm going to put that over there. I only need that for later on. I have my bag with some screws and nails in it. I'm going to put that to the side right there. We will be working with that today. Here's a piece of plywood. This is 1/2 inch thick plywood. Talked about plywood a little bit earlier in the year. So I'm going to put that down there. And then I have this little tiny piece that's at an angle. This is called a bevel. And we'll explain about this in just a moment because this is one of the first pieces that we're going to attach onto our block of wood. Okay, so we have our base here. And we have 2 holes here on the top, and we have 1 hole here in the back. So I actually want to go through and label this so I know which part is which, so I don't get confused while I'm putting this together. And like I said, this part with the 2 holes on the top, this is the top. And I'm just going to write this lightly on with a pencil. Again, I do want to sand that off, so I'm going to be fairly light with my markings on here. This part right here, without the hole in it, so I'm just flipping that over 90 degrees. This is the front. I'm going to turn this around. This side right here with that hole in it, this is the back. And so that makes this part down here. So we got the top, the front, the back. This is the bottom. I'm just going to abbreviate that bottom. So I have top with the 2 nails. I have front, which has nothing on it. I have the back, which has the 1 hole in it. And then since that's the top, I know that this is the bottom. So go ahead and label yours. Take a moment to make sure you label yours correctly. All right. I'm going to hold mine first off to the front. And we're first going to make some marks on here. That's for attaching this, but we're not going to attach this piece yet. But we're still going to make some marks on here. So I'm going to get my tape measure out. This tape measure is nice. It locks right there. So I'm just going to make 2 marks from the top down right here at 1 inch. Just going to make a mark right there and another mark right there. The reason is so that is going to line up here. I have my 2 marks there. This piece will line up right there, and when I do that, it gives me a nice 1/4 inch lip right there. Whoop, you can see it. 1/4 inch lip right there, and that's what my Chromebook will fit up against so it doesn't fall out. So that's the whole purpose of this, is to prevent the Chromebook from coming out. So I have my 2 marks on there at 1 inch. I'm going to take this off now. And now we're going to flip this to the bottom. The first piece we're going to install is this small piece. It's cut at an angle. That's called a bevel. B-E-V-E-L, bevel. And my bevel, I want the bevel part going in the front. So the bevel's going to be flush with the front, the thicker part in the front, the thinner part in the back. That's going to make my project, when I finish it, stand up at an angle like that. So you want to make sure that I know which side I'm putting on. I want my angled piece to be going in the very front. Now I have to figure out where this is actually going to go. So I want my nails, so I'm going to put this down on my bench so it's easier to work. I want my nails an inch in from either side. So I'm just going to make a mark here at an inch. And then I'm going to come around and flip it around and make another mark at 1 inch. All right, and then this is 3/4 of an inch thick. So I'm just going to lock this down. This is 3/4 of an inch thick. I can hold this on any inch mark right there, and I'm just going to make a mark at 3/8 of an inch. So I want this to be right in the center. So I'm going to make, again, hold that down, and then make my mark at 3/8 of an inch. And see how I did that? So it doesn't matter. I don't have to be all the way over there because it's hard for me to read those ones. So I can move this over because I just want to make a mark halfway between here. That's 3/4 of an inch. Half of that's 3/8. So I made a mark right there. All right. So here's my bottom. Again, there's my front. This is going to go flush up the front there. But I want to get it centered back and forth this way. So a really easy way to do that is I want to have an equal amount on either side. I'm going to slide this all the way over to one side to see how much extra space I have. And when I get my tape measure on there, that reads 3 inches. So that's 3 inches right there. So I just divide 3 in half, which is 1.5 inches, and that is where this side's going to line up. So I'm just going to make a mark right here at 1.5 inches. So if I lay this down right there at 1.5 inches and have it nice and flush there, that should be 1.5 inches there, which it is. Okay, now let's get out our nails and screws. I'm just going to take them all out and put them right back on top here so I can collect them. Now in your kit, you have 3 nails that are this size. You have 3 nails that are this size and 1 that's longer. You're going to be using these nails, these smaller ones, for installing this. I gave you an extra one, so you only need 2. You may end up with an extra one if you don't bend one over. That's why I gave you 3. So you're going to use these smaller nails. Make sure you're doing that. So I'm going to hold this flush. I'm going to put my point right here with my hammer. Lightly start pounding that in. I'm going to make sure that nail's set. Now I'm going to move my hand out of the way, and I'm there on my mark. It's nicely pounded down. Now I'm going to do the same over here on this side, right there on that mark. There we go. It's nice and flush. There's my front. There's my top. When I tip that over, it stands up nice at an angle. That will prop up your Chromebook once you put your Chromebook on there. Awesome. Okay. Now, let's move this over, and we're going to install this piece, that part that's going to hold it up. This is the 1.5 inch piece, or a 1/2 inch piece, excuse me. So now we need to do the same little trick we did before. I'm going to hold this over here. We already know we're going to set it up to those lines right there, but where do we set it side by side? So we want to, again, get it in the center. So I'm going to find what the distance is here, 3.5. All right, so now I need to divide 3.5 in half, and that's going to be the same distance on either side. So what's half of 3.5? What's half of 3.5 is 1 3/4. So I'm going to make a little mark right there at 1 3/4. That's my edge mark. So I just had 3 lines, 3 marks here. That's what I'm going to line this up to. Right there on those two and those two right there. Very good. And is that equal distance? We'll measure over here. Yep, that's 1 3/4 there. I have 1 3/4 there. Going to hold that in place. Now, this is where your larger screw, or nail, excuse me, your 1¼ nail comes in place. You're going to hold this down, and in that hole that's pre-drilled, that's a countersunk hole to fit the head of that screw. But we're going to put our nail in here, and we're just going to tap that in a couple of times. Really hard because you want to get that out. I'm showing you a little trick here that you can be able to put this in if you don't have a power screwdriver. So now I'm going to put my other one right here. And again, just putting a little nail there, a little pressure on there, moving it around. Now that right there, those two holes you see right there, that's where I'm going to be driving my screws. I'm doing sometimes you'd use a drill bit to do this, to drill it in. This is called, I am pre-drilling or making a little bit of a hole here for those screws to go in. I put this in, that's a little hard. So now I'm going to use my claw from my hammer to get that out. I used a little leverage there. So I want to do the same over here, drive it down. I'm going to use my claw on my hammer to get it out. Do not drive this all the way in, or else you won't be able to get your screw in there. So I put that one in again, and I'm going to do the same over here just to make sure I got the hole big enough. Take that one out. Now I'm set to install this piece. I'm going to move this over right there. I'm going to hold it down. I'm going to put these are 1.5" screws. Take that, and I take my screwdriver, drive that in, and I'm hitting the hole that I drilled already or marked already. I'm just twisting, twisting, twisting. I'm not going to twist it all the way. I want to get the other one set in there too. So I put that in, and it's finding the hole that I already pre-drilled or preset in there. There we go. I tighten that one up. I'm going to tighten this one up. That's nice and tight. That's nice and tight. Flip that up. Oh, look at that. I got a nice lip there of 1/4 inch. There we go. That's as far as I want you to get today. If you get that far, great. And we'll continue this project over the next week or so. Great job today.